Good morning. I hope you had a great weekend. I'm Jenny and I'm back for another edition of Family Art Club. And this week I've got something short and simple that will be amazing and really fun for your kiddos to play outside this morning before the storm comes in. I think that there's going to be a storm later this afternoon, but this is a really fun project that you can simply lay out the materials in a really pleasing way so it's just naturally appealing to children, and then let them take the lead. So we are going to do Sparkle Potion Play today, and the only ingredients you need are baking soda. I've got this heavy duty bag, but you can use however much you need or have. White vinegar, different colors of food coloring, and a few clear containers. So I've got some takeout containers, both big and small, as well as just like a drinking glass. And these are filled, the small ones I went ahead and poured some white vinegar in them. And then this one is the one that we're gonna use to serve as our main potion making central. So I'm gonna talk a second about presentation. So when you're doing activities for children that are self-directed, it's really important to kind of set them up in a way that's going to be really appealing visually, and it sparks their curiosity and makes them want to come over and explore and see what's going on. I also forgot to mention I've got several different kinds of, I'm going to use the G word, glitter, because I would encourage you all to do this outside. You can just hose off your kids at the end so you don't get glitter all over your house. But I've got really chunky glitter, so it's less messy. It doesn't stick around. I believe when I was looking online for this glitter, it was called nail art glitter or something, or really chunky glitter. And they're all different weird shapes, I think, that you can put on your fingernails, for a manicure. I also have just some really chunky flair, sequins. I have a sequin, I bought a sequin mix kit, and it was just all different kinds of shapes of sequins. I've got some big circles, I've got stars, I've got all kinds of weird things, and then there's some gems mixed in here, because I just took a gem bag and a bag full of gems like that, and I took a bag full of mixed sequins, and I just keep them stored together all in one big mix bag, and I call it my sparkle grab bag. And so I've got a couple different kinds of those. So, when you're setting up your exploration, if you are outside, on a picnic table, you don't necessarily need a tray, but for this experiment, or this, I guess, art exploration, because we're working with vinegar and baking soda, a tray is a great idea. It could even be a cookie sheet with a lip. So, I've got my baking soda here, and what you're going to do is encourage your child to mix up a sparkly fizzy potion. So I'm going to start by putting a good quantity of baking soda down here at the bottom. I want it to completely cover the bottom of my cup. And then I'm going to pick out my colors. So I am going to stick to warm tones because at the very end, because we're gonna kind of let kids go, there will be some mixing, and I think that if you kind of stick to one color family, you'll get a prettier result in the end. Even if it's just sensory play, it'll be more visually appealing. So I'm gonna go, this one will be yellow. This one I think is gonna be orange. So I'm gonna mix some yellow with some red, and your kids can kind of just go through and add their drops. And then this one will be red. And I'm going to use, I've got this little pipette that I'm going to use to drop. So I'm just going to mix it up. This is so fun. It feels like science. It feels like a mystery. There's a little element of magic to it. You could also use liquid watercolor if you happen to have that. That will give you a lot of like richness in your tones, but we're going to use food coloring, and that works just great. So then I've got my baking soda, and then I'm going to add some sparkles. And here we go. Oh yeah, this is gonna be great. And then I'm gonna add my vinegar, and you can watch with your kid to start, and this is a great way you can use it to talk about the chemical reaction, depending on the age of your child, or you can just let them play and then talk about why they think this is happening after they play, or just kind of leave it, depending on the age of your child. There are several different ways you could take this. Oh, yeah. And so you can ask them, like, what do you hear? Because you can hear it fizzing and bubbling. You can ask them what happens when they mix colors. Ask them about the texture that's left behind. So when the bubbles pop, there's like this really cool bubbly texture that's left behind on the surface of the baking soda. And then you're going to add more. So you might start with just one color. And you're going to make like these clean layers. And with each layer, you add more sparkles. Because you're making a potion. And so for this one, if you don't have a pipette like this, you can use a teaspoon. But basically, once maybe you make one layer together, and then kind of let them go wild. And they can keep adding, they're mixing their ingredients to make this sparkly potion. And adding all these beautiful colors. I'm going to do one more layer. And of course, I feel like every time I'm doing a sensory activity like this, I'm enjoying it myself, but then I'm always surprised by what little ones come up with the same materials. So it's really interesting to just observe them and see what they're noticing, see what questions they're asking. if you're doing it with more than one kid, you can see like how they're working together and how they're helping each other. So I'm adding a lot to this one because we're gonna, I mean, it'll keep bubbling almost infinitely because we're adding so much baking soda. So that's fun. But also we're getting to the point where like once they've been playing with this for a while, and you can start to see layers develop, which is cool. So right now, if you look, I've got a yellow layer, a red layer, and an orange layer. Well, on this, towards me, you can see it better. I've got yellow, red, and orange. And so you've got this really cool mixture, but of course, little kids, what are they gonna do? You can encourage them to mix it together if they don't already do it naturally. I'm sure a lot of kiddos will just go for it. And they're mixing this potion, and the more baking soda they add, the thicker it gets. And if they add a lot of baking soda, it'll get this really awesome paste. That's just kind of like fun. So I'm gonna add baking soda, maybe give it a little, gotta make it fizzy. And then so they've got this like really thick, beautiful, like orangey paste with all this glitter and sparkles in it. And it's just really like visually appealing. And this is when you can bring out, like once they've got this and they're just like going for it, it's a great idea to bring out and introduce some kitchen equipment. So like after they're doing this, you don't want to like introduce things too quick because like you can overwhelm them. And if you really want them to kind of study what's going on and become really methodical about this, you want to wait to introduce like the other equipment. But you can just gauge your child, and as their interest is fading, you can bring in other options to make it fun. So what do kids love? I mean, you can basically, it's like setting up a mud kitchen outside, but you've got this awesome, like sparkly, gooey paste. And so you can introduce like measuring cups. I've got a really cool spatula, tongs, a whisk, measuring spoons. This is just from my kitchen, and just arranging them on your picnic table or whatever. I've got a wooden spoon, and then you can bring out a variety of like pots and pans and cups and things, and then introduce some natural materials. So like grass clippings, flowers, petals, leaves, sticks. If you just arrange them like nicely on the table, or even just bring a basket of them out while they're playing with this, you'll really like be able to spark their imagination and do some really fun nature play as they're mixing up potions and having some imaginary kitchen play and incorporating natural elements to just use their imagination. It is really fun to watch kiddos go do this, and it will kind of be like this wonder sparking activity. So I really hope you guys play and use your imaginations today and mix up some sparkle potions. It's a lot of fun. You can experiment with all different colors, and I just did a really basic run through, but I'm sure that your creations will be even more beautiful. And when you're all done, the best part is just hose them off outside. So I'll see you later. Have a great week. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.